Hi, welcome to Pennsylvania Newsmakers, and as always, thanks for watching. Well, the implementation of a big portion of the Affordable Care Act is less than a month away. We're going to get into some of the do's and the don'ts and what you need to know to help navigate your way through, the complexity of that. And then Charlie Thompson from the Harrisburg Patriot News and PennLive. We're going to do a little Penn State update. All of that follows these words.
This is Pennsylvania Newsmakers, a fast-paced, unrehearsed weekly discussion with and about the leaders who shape your world. And now, here's your host, Terry Madonna.
Hi, well, Jon Seltenheim, he's a senior VP at Concordia Dental. He's been on the program a number of times. He's here to sort through some of this. I'll tell you, you can say what you will about the Affordable Care Act, and, people like it and people don't like it.
Right.
But as I like to say often, as Meryl Streep might say, it's complicated, right?
It's very complicated, and
we can agree on that,
absolutely,
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and go ahead.
I was going to say it's the law of the land, so we need to move ahead with it.
You're absolutely right. All right. The first part of this that is scheduled to go into effect, a number of areas of it have been postponed.
Right.
I count 5. We don't need to go into the details of those. We can maybe have you back at another time and do that. But we've got these insurance exchanges that's supposed to start on October 1. We'll see what happens. Some areas connected to that have been postponed leading up to it. But again, so what would you say, if you had to tell our viewers out there, the insurance exchanges, what are they, first of all?
There are 2 types of exchanges, one for individuals and one for small business. And both are scheduled to go in as of October 1. What will happen then is individuals can actually enroll for health insurance that will be effective as of January 1. There's an open enrollment period that's going to go from October 1 until the end of March. But if they are in before December 15th, their coverage would actually be effective.
All right, so let me get this straight.
January
So I don't have health care coverage under the Affordable Care Act. On October 1, I'll be able to get on an internet site and I'll be able to look at a whole bunch of health care policies and, what they contain, what they cost. Do I got that right so far?
Absolutely.
And pick one.
Correct.
And for some, there'll be a subsidy depending on income?
Right. So for individuals, not for small businesses, but for individuals based on income range and family size, they can actually get a subsidy or a reduction in the premium that they're going to have to pay. And for individuals at lower income ranges, they can actually also qualify for cost sharing, which means that for deductibles and co-insurance, they can get some assistance on that as well.
All right. Now, I don't want to jump ahead too far, but there will be in place navigators, that's what they're called, who will be employed by the federal government, correct me if I'm wrong, that will help individuals I'll tell you, I don't know about you. I look at these, okay, what's all this mean, right?
Right. So they're going to be what's called navigators. These are individuals who are funded by the federal government, but I think they're actually employed by local community organizations.
I got it. Thank you for that correction.
And so as a result, they're being trained now to be of assistance as of October 1. And I think there are 5 groups that have been appointed in Pennsylvania to serve that purpose. Mm-hmm. And so once October rolls around, there'll be more identification of who they are and how you can get in touch with them.
All right. Now, Pennsylvania, I don't think we need to delve into the complexity of this too much, but some states have their own insurance exchange. Some are using the federal government's exchange, and some are hybrids. Let's not go there.
Right.
Tell me what Pennsylvania is doing and what people need to know about that.
So Pennsylvania is following the federal model. So the federal government, in essence, will be running the exchange here. And the details behind it will come out as of October 1. If in the meantime they have questions, probably the best place to go is healthcare.gov. It's a website that gives some of the basics of how all this is going to work.
Yeah. You have one other thing that you've indicated might be relevant for some people, and that is tax credits.
Sure. So
I'm going to apply for these if I can get them. No, I'm not eligible, but go ahead.
Right. So it's based off of income and family size. But a family of 4 who's making $93,000, $94,000 a year could actually qualify for some level of tax credits. Certainly not as much as a family of 4 that's making $40,000 a year. But that's designed to make health insurance more affordable for individuals. But that's only individuals, not small.
It's only individuals. Now, I want to get into, we'll wait until the second segment. I want to get into the dental part of it. We'll get into that in the second segment. Businesses small businesses, are we talking about that employ fewer than 50 people? Is that the deal?
That's correct.
And explain what that means for this.
So companies that have less than 50 employees, they can go to the Small Business Exchange. And as a result, they can get their medical and dental insurance that way.
Okay.
And if they have less than 25 employees or average wages of less than $50,000 a year, they can get some additional tax credits.
All right. All right, we're going to run to a break. We're going to switch gears. Obviously, Jon knows a lot, given what he does for a living, a lot about the dental side of it. And we're not going to get into what companies are doing, whether they're laying people off or going to 30 hours. We'll do that on another show. This is just about helping everybody understand how to navigate the complexities of this, regardless of what your position is. People need to have this basic information to know how to proceed. When we come back, what does health care reform mean for dental? I do my regular checkups, and so should you. We'll be back in a moment.
This broadcast of Pennsylvania Newsmakers is presented by the Pennsylvania Chamber of Business and Industry, the statewide voice of business, and by the Pennsylvania Business Council Education Foundation, educating citizens and business leaders about important public policy issues and civic affairs. This broadcast of Pennsylvania Newsmakers is brought to you by BetterSaferRoads.com. To voice your support for safer highways and less traffic congestion, visit BetterSaferRoads.com. And by the Pennsylvania Manufacturers Association. Business in Pennsylvania is our business.
Hi, welcome back to the program where we're chatting about health care reform and how important it is the implementation of the Affordable Care Act, otherwise known as Obamacare. The president said we can call it that, so we're doing that on this program. All right, health care reform and dental, Jon. Fill us in on some of the important details here.
Sure. Under the Affordable Care Act, there are 10 categories of services that qualify or are mandated for everyone to have. This is individuals and small businesses. And the 10th category is pediatric oral and vision services. And so that basically requires that children be offered a dental option. They don't have to purchase it, but they do have to be offered it through the exchanges.
So that means they can get it, but that's optional. Folks can decide to get dental for their kids.
Exactly.
Kids or not. Now, if they purchase it, what does that mean?
That means that when their coverage goes live, either through a medical carrier or through a standalone company like United Concordia, that they can, in fact, have dental coverage. We're estimating somewhere between 600,000 and 800,000 children will pick up dental coverage as a result of the Affordable Care Act.
Wow.
Now, that could either be through Medicaid, CHIP, or through private insurance, but there's going to be a large number of individuals.
I think we talked about this before, and there are some things about health care that prevention is worth its weight in gold, literally.
Absolutely.
And having kids get appropriate dental care, dental problems can lead to other serious health problems.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
And we've just finished some studies with the University of Pennsylvania that reinforce the medical cost savings that can accrue as a result of having ongoing dental treatment. So it's very important for folks to see their dentist and then, in fact, to get regular care.
Yeah. Now, what is? Did we? I don't know if we're going to put this website up. You'll help us. Where do people go to get additional information? I think you mentioned that. Let's do it again.
Healthcare.gov is the place where individuals in Pennsvillia should go to learn more about the Affordable Care Act.
We don't have it. Healthcare, no break. Healthcare.gov. You all got that? Most people will get that. And now, just to clarify, if someone has coverage through their employer today, what happens to their coverage when October 1 comes around?
The vast majority of folks will continue to have coverage through their employers who have it today, and there may be no changes at all. It's just that small employers with less than 50 employees have the option now of going through the exchange. But it is going to be something that small employers really need to spend time with their brokers and figure out what works best for them. But we're going to see a lot of change happening going forward.
And as I said, I mean, it's unclear, you know, what the effect that will have on employment. You know, there's various stories about what it will mean with cutbacks. I think this talks about 30 hours is the threshold.
Is the break point.
Yeah, the break point, and whether people's hours get reduced. The ramifications of this are going to, I think, play out for the next couple of years. All right, this has been, I think, very helpful to me, helpful to our viewers. Thanks for coming on.
My
Appreciate
pleasure.
it. All right, we're going to wade into bring you an update on the Penn State situation. By that, I'm talking about the full ramifications of the Jerry Sandusky sexual abuse case. Charlie Thompson from the Harrisburg Patriot News and PennLive has literally been writing I think some of the most important stories that we've seen in terms of the coverage of this. Charlie Thompson will be with us in a moment.
This broadcast of Pennsylvania Newsmakers is brought to you by Pennsylvania Credit Union Association. Pennsylvania Credit Unions, where people are worth more than money. To find a credit union that is right for you, check out ibelong.org. And by the Energy Association of Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania's energy information source. This broadcast of Pennsylvania Newsmakers is presented by the Hospital and Health System Association of Pennsylvania, working towards a healthy Pennsylvania.
Hey, welcome back. Well, Charlie Thompson from the Patriot News and PennLive joins me. He's been, covering this, all the situation of Penn State in the wake of the prosecution of Jerry Sandusky. There's all kinds of ramifications. We have the three top administrators, former administrators, Spanier, Curley, and Schultz, president, vice president, and athletic director. Did I got that right? Who are now where? Bring us an update about where their court cases stand.
Yes, at the end of July, the three former administrators charged with either, however you want to look at it, ignoring or trying to squelch investigations of Sandusky's child sexual abuse, had their preliminary hearing on those obstruction of justice, perjury, and endangering welfare of children charges. All counts were held over for Dauphin County Court, and that essentially means that they are now on track for a trial.
So we're going to have a trial, full trial with a jury.
Right. There's going to be a lot of preliminaries. It's going to be a very slow train to get there. One of the big issues is what's the status of Cynthia Baldwin, who was the university counsel at the time that this investigation was gathering steam in 2010 and 11. She was in the grand jury as university counsel, but representing Spanier, Curley, and Schultz when they testified before the grand jury.
Is that a potential conflict?
It is. She has since flipped to become a prosecution witness.
Oh, my.
And those defendants have a big-time argument about whether they either were denied the right to counsel because of her statement now that she wasn't representing them but was representing the university, and or if she was their attorney at the time, if there was an egregious breach of attorney-client privilege.
All right. Now, if you've covered a lot of these trials, if you had a guess, when does the trial start? When do the actual trial? Are we talking about March or April of next year?
I think it'll start. I can't put a month on it, but I believe 2014 broadly.
Oh,
I
wow.
think we can say.
Okay. Okay.
Remember the Sandusky trial, which was run by a judge who was very efficient. Almost efficient to a fault. He got that thing from preliminary hearing to trial in 7 months.
Wow.
So at minimum, this would be 7 months. That would be spring.
Yeah,
but there's more pretrial issues to play out here. And I'm not sure that Judge Hoover in Dauphin County, no disrespect to the judge, but I'm not sure that he will work at quite the pace that Cleveland did, because Cleveland was solely assigned to the Sandusky
Let's
case.
move on to another. The most recent news are the settlements that in the civil lawsuits filed by some of the Sandusky victims. You correct me if I'm wrong on this.
Yeah, actually a mediation that got them before they filed suits
Oh,
in
okay.
most cases.
A mediation. So there are some 25 of them,
Yeah.
and about 7 or 8 of them have been
Yeah.
resolved.
Right. 31 people presented claims saying that they were abused by Sandusky over the course of time, triple essentially the amount of cases that were actually brought forth in the criminal case.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting in itself. But they were vetted for some basic level of credibility by Feinberg and Rosen, the legal team that was brought in to handle this mediation process for the university. They deemed 28 of them to have real credibility.
Wow.
And they have been moving forward to negotiate
Yeah, I don't
monetary
think-
settlements with these.
Yeah, I think that part of it has not gotten a lot of news. Maybe
but
I'm
there's
wrong
a lot
about that.
more than just what came out in the criminal trial.
Yeah, I was
know.
going to say that is really
Well, and in part that's
surprising.
because this is designed to be a confidential process for those victims.
So we're not being told how much the settlements were
per
individually,
person.
per person.
Penn State, we know that Penn State has authorized $60 million, something on the order of $60 million.
For all of the charges that are
Yeah.
out there, right?
Right, and that's a number
Wow.
that they believe is needed to settle. There's 25, possibly 26 cases, according to the attorneys, that are in a posture where they think that they are going to drive home a settlement that would end all future litigation with these guys.
I missed that somehow. I mean, I read the.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So-
Finish your thought,
so
and then
those-
we'll run to a break.
Those settlements will range from multiple millions of dollars to multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on the severity and duration of the abuse.
All right, we're going to run to a break. When I come back, I want to ask Charlie about where these NCAA violations stand. There's certainly appeals to them, and the Paterno family has one. We'll get that all clarified with Charlie Thompson in a moment.
This broadcast of Pennsylvania Newsmakers is presented by Highmark Blue Shield, changing the way health plans work for business with a variety of plan options for employers and more choices for employees. Information is available at highmark.com. Have a greater hand in your company's health. And by the Pennsylvania Healthcare Association, the future of long-term care.
Hi, welcome back with Charlie Thompson from the Patriot News and PennLive. We're getting a quick update on the ramifications of the Jerry Sandusky sexual abuse case at Penn State. All right, let's talk about these NCAA penalties. The last time I looked, I thought the governor had a case and that was thrown out. And now the family, the Paterno family, where does all that stand?
Okay, yeah, Governor Corbett did lose his suit in federal court and has decided not to appeal. That leaves a new suit that was filed by the estate of Joe Paterno in tandem with some former players at Penn State.
Players.
Yeah, four sitting trustees, I believe, have joined that suit in an individual capacity. And
now, what are the complaints? What are the complaints say that they're filed against? The NCAA? The penalties include things like taking away the win-loss records to deny Joe Paterno that record. But go ahead. We don't need to get into what they are.
It's a direct suit against the sanctions, trying to roll back those penalties, have them declared void, and essentially it says that the NCAA breached its contractual relations with the university in levying these sanctions and has caused harm to third parties that rely on the university NCAA relationship for fair play and competitive balance, and that what the NCAA has done is dramatically overstepped its role and violated their rights to fair
so
treatment.
where is the Paterno suit? Is that still active?
That is
the
active.
Paterno
It's in
suit
Center
family
County
is
Court.
still active.
Yeah, it's in Center County Court, and there will be initial arguments in October on
That's a tough.
preliminary objections by the NCAA to try to get that suit
That's
dismissed.
a tough road to go, isn't it? To get these penalties thrown
Seemingly it is, but like
Who
a lot
knows, right?
about this case, I mean, a lot of it's uncharted territory.
That's
so,
exactly right.
you know, the NCAA did levy these penalties outside of its normal enforcement process. So, does that give, I mean, in a way, there are fresh sets of facts here for any court to look at. In federal court, it didn't work so well for Governor Corbett, but these guys have some different arguments, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
All right. Before I let you go, as this show airs, the legislature's poised to return. You cover the legislature. What is the legislature you think likely to take up that's of great importance to our viewers?
I think that during this summer, the legislature has kind of been like watching a video or a DVD and you put it on pause. I think when they come back in September, we can take the pause off, and I think we'll be talking about transportation and LCB and pensions.
Sell the liquor store's translation, right?
Right. Now, and that's in part because I think that those are still priority things that Governor Corbett has not walked away from. Certainly, the transportation lobby has not walked away from its quest for transportation funding. And by that, I mean a combination of, the SEPTAs, local governments,
well, and you got
contractors, engineers.
And unusual to have unions as well as the chambers of commerce all in favor of something, right?
So
that's kind of unusual.
So there will continue to be a big push to try to get that done. And
how about
pension
education?
Reform?
How about education funding? You don't think they're going to revisit the funding given the cutbacks that we keep reading about?
I think it's kind of out of season right now because they do that necessarily comes during the budget. I don't necessarily think we can look for any supplemental appropriations. I'm not sure the cash is there to do it. But it's an interesting point. Might be something to keep an eye on. The one thing that I'm hearing that might crowd into the mix, at least the governor will have a desire to do this, and I think this is somewhat reflected in your recent poll, is they want to try to also start to show that they're doing some things to lift Pennsylvania's economy and boost job creation. The tough part about that is I'm never really sure how much a state legislature and a gubernatorial administration
All right,
can
we're
do
out of
about
time. Thanks for coming in. This is a wonderful update. We'll see you next week for another edition of Pennsylvania Newsmakers. And as always, stay well.